There is an oil that costs $6 and cuts cardiac death by 45%. Not a supplement blend, not a wellness trend. A single teaspoon of oil from the liver of an Atlantic cod contains a molecule that stabilizes arterial plaque, thins blood as effectively as low-dose aspirin, and resolves inflammation at the cellular level. A company called Amarin took that molecule, purified it, put it in a capsule, and named it Vascepa. The price is $500 a month. The molecule is identical. One costs $6 at any grocery store. The other requires a prescription. And the cardiovascular drug industry, worth $50 billion a year, has spent 2 decades making sure you believe the $6 version does not work. Viking fishermen along the Norwegian coast extracted this oil over 1,000 years ago. They laid birch branches across an iron kettle, placed cod livers on top, and brought the water to a boil. Steam rose, oil dripped. They skimmed it and drank it through the winter. In 1782, a physician at the Manchester Infirmary prescribed it for rheumatism. In 1841, a Scottish doctor published the first textbook on its use for tuberculosis. In 1941, the British government made it free, issuing it to every pregnant mother and child under 5 in the country. In 1999, Italian researchers enrolled 11,324 heart attack survivors in a trial and gave half of them this oil daily. The result, published in The Lancet, was a 45% reduction in sudden cardiac death. The molecule responsible is called EPA. It had been in cod liver oil for as long as cod have had livers. Fishermen along the storm-racked coasts of Norway did not need a clinical trial to know the value of cod liver oil. For generations, they called it the gold of the ocean. In the bone-dark winters, when sunlight vanished and rickets twisted the legs of children, these families extracted oil from cod livers, not with factory precision, but with the tools of survival. Barrels were filled with fresh livers and left to ferment or set above simmering water, coaxing out a pale, briny liquid that kept joints supple and spirits alive. No one wrote dosage instructions. The fishermen drank it raw, sometimes straight from the barrel, trusting what centuries of hard living had taught them. This oil meant strength, warmth, and another season at sea. In 1782, inside the Manchester Infirmary, a single entry appeared in a physician's ledger. The note was brief: a patient with rheumatism given oil from cod livers. The doctor's name was Robert Darby. No fanfare, no published study. Just a quiet experiment, bridging the gap between folk remedy and medical curiosity. 1 barrel at a time, the oil moved from fishing docks to the hospital, from myth to something measurable. The world was beginning to take notice. In 1841, the first real crack in medical skepticism appeared in black and white. John Hughes Bennett, a Scottish physician in Edinburgh, published a treatise that did what folklore never could. He counted. Bennett combed through records at the hospital for consumption, comparing outcomes in patients with tuberculosis, then called consumption, who received cod liver oil, against those who did not. The numbers were not subtle. Out of 542 patients treated with cod liver oil, only 19% deteriorated or died. In the control group, which included 535 patients, 1 in 3, or 33%, met the same fate. For the first time, a remedy pulled from fishing barrels had a table of outcomes to its name. Bennett's work did not just validate a folk cure, it handed the medical establishment hard evidence, daring them to ignore it. This was no longer a matter of faith or taste. It was a question of odds, and the odds had shifted. In 1941, as bombs fell over London and ration books replaced grocery lists, the British government made a wartime calculation. Survival depended on more than bullets. Under Lord Woolton, the Ministry of Food issued a mandate. Every child and every pregnant woman would receive cod liver oil free by the teaspoon. Clinics across the country handed out millions of doses. The goal was simple: fight rickets, scurvy, and the silent toll of malnutrition. For 30 years, this policy shaped the health of a generation. Rickets cases dropped by 90%. Wartime children grew taller and heavier than their pre-war peers, a rare victory in an era of deprivation. 3 decades later, thousands of miles away, 2 Danish researchers slogged through the ice of northwest Greenland. Hans Olaf Bang and Jorn Dyerberg tested the blood of Inuit hunters living on seal, fish, and whale. Their findings stunned the medical world. Despite a diet where fat made up half of daily calories, heart attacks were almost unknown. Blood samples revealed sky-high levels of EPA and DHA, omega-3 fatty acids from marine oil. Here was a living experiment, a population-level clue, linking ancient remedies to modern science. The evidence was piling up. The molecule at the heart of it all was hiding in plain sight. Italy, 1999. 11,324 heart attack survivors signed up for a test that would rewrite the rulebook. The GISSI Prevenzione trial did not rely on ancient legend or vague hope. It delivered a number that still echoes through the halls of cardiology, a 45% drop in sudden cardiac death for those taking 1 gram of omega-3 oil each day. Not a boutique extract, not a secret formula, just the same EPA and DHA found in the bottles. Lining grocery store shelves now dispensed in blister packs by Italian nurses. In a world where statins and stents dominated the conversation, this was a lightning bolt. The trialists did not hide the magnitude. 1.9% of the omega-3 group died suddenly, compared to 3.4% in the control group. That is thousands of lives measured in decimal points, not marketing slogans. But numbers on a chart do not show what is happening inside an artery. For that, you need a different kind of proof. Fast forward to the Evaporate trial. American investigators put high-dose EPA to the test using CT scans to peer into the hearts of patients on statins. The verdict: total plaque volume shrank by 9% in the EPA group, while it ballooned by 11% in those on placebo. Even more dramatic, the most dangerous fibrofatty plaque fell by 34% with EPA, while the placebo group soared by 32%. This is not just a statistical victory, it is a before and after X-ray of a killer in retreat. The compound that once fueled Viking winters was now melting the very plaque that triggers heart attacks, with modern imaging to prove it. 8,179 high-risk patients, 4 grams of pure EPA a day. That is the recipe behind Reduce It, the trial that shattered decades of uncertainty in heart disease prevention. The results were not subtle. A 25% drop in major cardiovascular events, a 48% reduction in cardiac arrest. These are not the soft numbers of nutritional advice. They are the kind of outcomes that rewrite medical guidelines. But the secret was not discovery, it was dose. Reduce it. Used a prescription-level, purified form of EPA, flooding the bloodstream with a molecule that has been hiding in plain sight since the age of Norse fishermen. Contrast that with the VITAL and Cochrane trials. Both tested omega-3 fatty acids in tens of thousands of people, but kept the dose low, about 1 gram a day, often mixed with DHA. Their verdict was little to no effect on heart attacks or death. The headlines declared omega-3s a bust. But the real story was buried in the dosing. Low doses, mixed formulas, and a scattershot approach could not match the impact of high-dose, pure EPA. What makes EPA different? At high levels, it weaves itself into arterial walls, disarming the inflammation that turns plaque into a ticking time bomb. EPA does not just lower triglycerides, it creates resolvins, molecules that actively put out the fire inside blood vessels. Platelets become less sticky. Dangerous plaque shrinks and stabilizes. The very architecture of risk changes. This is not a vitamin supplement. It is molecular surgery from the inside out. The difference between $6 and $500 is not a secret ingredient. It is the dose, purity, and the relentless march of evidence from the docks of Norway to the halls of modern cardiology. A bottle of cod liver oil costs $6 at the pharmacy. The same molecule, EPA, sits inside a prescription bottle labeled Vascepa, now priced at $500 a month. Lavazza, another brand, peaked at nearly $1,500. The chemistry is identical. The difference is a patent and a marketing campaign. In 2004, GlaxoSmithKline paid $1.65 billion for the rights to Lavazza. Overnight, a remedy once rationed on war-torn streets became a revenue stream with a price tag to match cancer drugs. The math is simple. Take a molecule that has been in the public domain for centuries, tweak the formulation, and lock it behind a prescription. The markup is not for discovery, it is for exclusivity. The cost to the patient is not innovation. It is the toll for crossing a gate that never needed to exist. 1 teaspoon. That is the baseline. About 400 milligrams of EPA and DHA, together with vitamins A and D, are in every daily dose of cod liver oil. Absorption triples with a meal that contains fat, so timing matters more than most labels admit. Long before the price tags exploded, people like Tom, a retired electrician from Milwaukee, took a spoonful every morning with breakfast. His cholesterol dropped, his joints hurt less, and his cardiologist noticed his triglycerides had fallen by 50%. But this is not a free-for-all. Cod liver oil carries a warning. Too much means vitamin A overload, which can cause liver damage, not extra protection. Anyone taking blood thinners or planning to go above 2 grams a day should talk to a doctor first. The power is real, but so are the limits. The difference now is agency. Armed with the facts, the choice comes back to you. Today, a $6 oil gathers dust on grocery shelves while a $500 prescription lines pharmaceutical pockets, both delivering the same molecule, both backed by hard numbers. The difference is who profits and who decides what you are allowed to know. The real heart risk now is silence. Drop your thoughts below.